Pick your mans up.
And just because people used to come through shooting at us every day. And this block, words can't even explain, man. Can't even explain.
Yeah, man.
Little school belly, 05 way on money.
Young Money, man. They in the building.
600 boy, LA, man. LA Capone, man. Get it to him, man. OC2 boys, man. Team
Rondo number 9, man. Number 9 shooter, you hear me?
Hey, bitch, little bitch. Yeah. Fuck is wrong with you? Hey, I am Brick Squad. Brick Squad, boy. Fuck is you talking about, boy?
You have to be willing to die or go to jail for 100 years if that's the lane that you're stepping in. You have to understand that whether you 15, 16, you got to think like a man. You know what I'm saying?
So don't be in it. Oh, you're not? Why does everybody say you're only 16 years old?
They say what they want to say.
How old
So
are
how
you?
old are you?
300.
The story of Motown. This is the story of Motown. In this video, we'll dive into the history of the neighborhood and the countless wars, both internal and external, that have shaped it. A big focus will be on FOLLYBOYZ and 50 Strong, who fought one of the bloodiest wars in Chicago during their time. We'll also explore the relationships between the different gangs within Motown, how the neighborhood has looked historically, and how it looks today. Sit back and enjoy as we break it all down. Motown is a South Side Chicago Black Pea Stone neighborhood that stretches from Hermitage to Wallace and from 49th to 54th. Motown got its name in the 1970s and is made up of multiple sets, mostly black pea stones, except for the Latin Kings over at 51st and Ada. The neighborhood has 16 sets in total, with each one traditionally having its own chief, while a prince oversees the whole hood. Motown is known for being highly organized and having a strong structure. Within Motown, there are also smaller alliances or branches of the Black Pea Stones that have historically been cool with each other. But in recent years, some of them have had internal conflicts. Because of that, older members who oversee Motown have had to step in and enforce peace between the groups to keep unity in the neighborhood. First, you have the Jet Black Stones, which is one branch of the Black Pea Stones. This branch makes up a big part of Motown and includes 5 sets: Justice on 53rd and Justine, Murtadine on 53rd and Aberdeen, 3rd Block on 53rd and Carpenter, Jet Gang also known as Low Life on 52nd and Low, and Honcho Gang on 54th and Union. Next is the well-known alliance FOLLYBOYZ, which is made up entirely of Black Pea Stones. FOLLYBOYZ includes 4 gangs: Sodden Gone 52nd and May, OTL on 54th and Laughlin, BBG on 54th and May, and AMG, also known as Zonebird Way, on 52nd and Bishop. Then you have the Rubinite Stones, another branch of the Black Pea Stones similar to the Jet Blacks. This faction includes Murderfield on 52nd and Marshfield, as well as DBC on 54th and Marshfield. Then you have 2 other Black Pea Stone sets, KTC on 52nd and Sangamon, and GGE/BullyBoys on 52nd and Green. There's also the Kings, Ada City/Mozzie World, a Latin King set located at 51st and Ada. This set actually predates Motown and stands out as one of the few Latin King factions in Chicago with a large number of black members, similar to East Side King sets like 089 Big Time and The Bush, who were rivals of GGE/BullyBoys. The Kings set up shop in this area back in 1972 and have over 50 years of history, going back to the days when the almighty Gaylords controlled Sherman Park. Finally, you have Bobby Boys on 50th and Loomis, and Freedom Town on 54th and Peoria. The Motown Alliance itself barely exists anymore. It pretty much dissolved in the mid-90s. The sets are still there, but it's no longer one unified front. So before getting into Motown's historic and current beefs with their traditional enemies, I want to first touch on the internal conflicts within Motown, some of which ended up turning into straight murder beef. FOLLYBOYZ, which includes Song, OTL, Birdway, and BBG054, are beefing with GGE and KTC. This is the biggest internal beef in Motown, and bodies have actually dropped because of it. But the internal beefs go back way earlier, starting in the 1990s, whether early or late, and were mainly about power struggles, territorial disputes, and control over money, sales, and operations. The first known killings tied to Motown's internal conflict happened in October 2003, when a 32-year-old disabled man and his 16-year-old son were found murdered in a back-of-the-yards apartment in the 5100 block of South Carpenter Street. The father, Edwards Jr., had been paralyzed from the waist down after being shot in the 1980s. He was found next to his wheelchair in the kitchen with a pillow over his face. His son, Charles Edwards III, was found dead in his bedroom wearing his pajamas. The father was an OG from Motown known as G-Red, and his son was a younger member known as Lil Rock. The killers were three Black P. Stone members from Motown named Crazy Corey, Dante, and Dwight. All three were initially arrested, but Crazy Corey, who was actually the one who committed the murders, somehow managed to beat the case. Dante and his cousin Dwight were instead charged with the murders, along with multiple counts of home invasion, armed robbery, residential burglary, and aggravated unlawful use of a weapon. Dwight later pleaded guilty to one count of murder in exchange for a 30-year prison sentence and an agreement to testify against Crazy Corey if he was ever charged again. It's unknown if Dante took the same plea deal, at least there's no clear record of it, but it's possible since he only got 20 years. After the murders, Crazy Corey, Dante, and Dwight were disowned and excommunicated from Motown. What's really crazy is that Crazy Corey, the one who actually pulled the trigger, even had the nerve to show up at the funeral and try to comfort the grieving family. This wasn't the first time Crazy Corey had beaten a murder case. Just 2 months earlier, he had killed a high-ranking member of 50 Strong, one of Motown's longtime rivals. The victim, known as John, was the older brother of Squad, another prominent member of 50 Strong. Crazy Corey, along with another jet black stone from Motown named Lil Ricky, carried out the hit by pulling up in 50 Strong's territory. During the attack, Corey fatally shot John in the face with a chopper. However, the situation almost turned deadly for Corey and Lil Ricky when BJ, another member of 50 Strong, fired back but missed. Years later, BJ was sentenced to 60 years in prison for accidentally shooting a police detective in the back, believing he was aiming at a Motown member. The shooting happened at night, which added to the confusion. Anyway, neither Corey nor Lil Ricky were charged with murder because it was considered a gang shootout, and it was basically their word against members of 50 Strong, which wasn't enough to hold up in court. So once again, Corey beat the case. If he had actually been charged and sentenced, it's possible that the father and son would still be alive today. Despite beating 3 murder cases, Crazy Corey still couldn't avoid serious prison time in the end. He is currently serving an 18-year sentence for being an armed habitual criminal. Two other murders tied to Motown's internal conflict happened in 2007. According to law enforcement, the double homicide came out of a power struggle within Motown. The incident involved Weiner from KTC, who killed 2 members of Third Gang, a Motown set aligned with FOLLYBOYZ. The shooting happened in June 2007 in the 800 block of West 53rd Street in the back of the Yards neighborhood. Police responded to reports of gunfire and found Cordero Diggs, 20, and Michael Smith, 29, lying on the ground. Diggs had been shot in the chest and Arman was pronounced dead at the scene. Smith was shot in the neck and taken to Strodger Hospital, where he later died. Weiner from KTC was later convicted of the murders and is currently serving 2 life sentences. This shows that the internal conflict in Motown started long before the 2016 murder of G-Nuk from OTL, proving that his death was not actually the beginning of the internal disputes like many people believed. Now we move back to more recent years, in a Motown that was clearly divided and no longer unified. I'm going to explain the internal Motown war between KTC and GGE versus FOLLYBOYZ. On June 24th, Rakim, also known as J-Rock, from AMG, now called Birdway, was killed by Corey from KTC. Not the same Corey mentioned earlier, this was a different Corey. J-Rock and Corey were actually friends, but a dispute during a dice game in the back of the Yards neighborhood was enough for Corey to kill him. Corey shot him in the neck and then ran from the scene on foot, while J-Rock was later pronounced dead at Strodger Hospital. Rock Nation was later created in his honor. An arrest warrant for Corey was issued a month after the murder, and in October 2018, he was sentenced to 28 years in prison. This killing became a major turning point, as tensions between the gangs started to rise. At the same time, some members saw it differently and felt that incidents like this could happen without it automatically turning into a full war. But not everyone felt that way, and members from Folly started sliding. Then, just 2 months later, another member from FOLLYBOYZ was killed, and this time, it fully set the war off. The murder I'm referring to is the killing of G-Nuk from OTL/FOLLYBOYZ, an event that would permanently change the dynamics inside Motown. At around 6:07 p.m. on September 4, 2016, officers responded to a call of a person shot in the 5200 block of South Sangamon and found G-Nuk suffering from multiple gunshot wounds to the body. He was taken to Strodger Hospital, where he was pronounced dead at 7:24 p.m. According to the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office, G-Nuk was allegedly killed because he tried to take Malik's car after being told not to. That led to an argument, and the two started pushing each other. Malik then pulled a semi-automatic handgun with an extended clip from his waistband and pointed it at G-Nuk, who immediately turned around and tried to run away. Malik then shot him in the back, causing Nuk to fall to the ground. After that, Malik walked up to him, stood over him, and fired multiple more shots at close range. G-Nuk was shot 6 times, once in the rear upper right leg, once in the upper back, twice in the buttocks, once in the back of the head, and once in the back of the neck. Police recovered 8.40 caliber shell casings near his body. After the murder, Malik fled to Ohio. About a year later, a warrant was issued for his arrest after witnesses identified him in a photo array. Then in late December 2021, Malik was sentenced to 20 years in prison for second-degree murder. G-Nuk and Malik can even be seen together in old pictures. G-Nuk was far from just a regular member, he was a shorty who had been putting in work from a young age. So it's really no surprise that his murder sparked a war, especially since tensions were already high after Corey from KTC had killed J-Rock from AMG over a dice game just 3 months earlier. G-Nuk was allegedly the killer of Toonshi from Dump Street in late August 2014. He also allegedly had a body on No Love City. With 2 highly respected members of the FOLLYBOYZ alliance now dead at the hands of KTC, war became inevitable, and FOLLYBOYZ officially declared it. The months after G-Nuk's death were marked by several shootouts involving FOLLYBOYZ, and eventually GGE entered the war by taking KTC's side. Jet Gang and Honcho Gang, who were Jetstones, also took KTC's side and started beefing with two other Jetstone gangs, Third Gang and Mottown, who were teamed up with FOLLYBOYZ. Then you have the Kings, the Rubinite Stone sets, and other Motown sets in general that stayed neutral in this war. So to sum it up, you have the first beef between FOLLYBOYZ and GGE/KTC, and the second beef between Jet Gang/Honcho Gang and Third Block/Mottown. Two more murders happened 2 years after the killing of G-Nuk. FOLLYBOYZ retaliated against KTC/GGE by killing 1 to 4 from GGE on June 1, 2018. He was shot and killed while sitting in his car at a gas station in the 2000 block of West 71st Street in Englewood. GGE/KTC retaliated 6 months later, in early December 2018, by killing Nasty Nate from OTL/FOLLYBOYZ. Trello from GGE later mocked Nate heavily in the song Dead Rappers, which he dropped in June 2020. In the song, he took a direct shot at Nate, a rapper from OTL, with the line, "This won't be the first time a dude died from rap." He also rapped, "For 1 to 4 we got back, and that's a fact," and ended the track with the line, "I'm smoking dead rappers." A year after Trello dropped that song, he was murdered himself. But it wasn't FOLLYBOYZ who killed him, it was 757, after he mocked Gunsmoke Gunna from 757, who had been killed 2 days earlier in Circuit City territory by OTV-029. Trello was later found dead in a basement in 757 territory. A few months later, KTC/GGE lost another member, this time FOLLYBOYZ struck again. On July 18, 2021, they killed Kenyo from KTC. There are more people who died in this internal conflict between FOLLYBOYZ and KTC/GGE, but we can cover that in another video. I don't want the internal conflict to take up too much of this video since it's not directly relevant, but I thought it was still worth mentioning. One last thing, the conflict has been on and off partly because Motown still has structure and leadership. Kita, the son of Jeff Fort, is currently the Prince of Motown, and when he speaks, members still listen. As I said, there's probably 1,000 more details you could mention, like more about Kita or one of Motown's founders, Papa, but we'll have to save that for another video. Now we leave the internal stuff, and instead we will talk about the wars with Dump Street, 051 Young Money, 50 Strong, and No Love City, just to name a few of the more well-known ones. I also want to touch on Motown's, and especially FOLLYBOYZ's, close ties with Lamron, 600, and O Block. Motown and 50 Strong have been at odds for what feels like forever, not literally, but for a very long time. This beef isn't just about FOLLYBOYZ, like I mentioned earlier. Crazy Corey killed John from 50 Strong back in 2003. The reason FOLLYBOYZ are so associated with the 50 Strong conflict is mostly because they've been under heavy pressure during it and because of a specific incident we'll talk about later. FOLLYBOYZ are also known for their connections with Lamron, 600, and O Block, which created new alliances but also sparked other conflicts, like the ongoing war with 051 Young Money, where GGE got pulled in because of their ties to MTG039. FOLLYBOYZ and Lamron get along well not just because they share the same enemies, but mainly because of FOLLYBOYZ's connection with 600, especially D.Rose, who Lamron often slid with between 2010 and 2014. On top of that, several FOLLYBOYZ members went to the same schools as kids from Lamron and Mottown, which helped strengthen their bond. D.Rose's mom, Motasha, and dad, Allery, were originally from Mottown. His dad, Allery Sardine, also known as General Ranger, was a well-respected Black P. Stone in Mottown, mostly known for making money. But Ranger wasn't just about the streets, he was really respected in the neighborhood for giving back to the community. He and a few other big mo's would buy backpacks for kids at school and organize events where they handed out toys and other supplies. Kids in the hood really loved him. Every year after the Bud Billiken parade, he even rented yellow school buses and took any kid who wanted to go to Six Flags. He had about a dozen arrests between 1995 and 2005, mostly for petty stuff like possession of cannabis, but also some more serious charges, including domestic battery, possession of a stolen vehicle, and possession of cocaine. General Ranger was shot and killed on July 28, 2006, by two men, Darcy Wiley, also known as Donut, and Christopher Gatewood, who had planned to rob him for money and marijuana at a Fort Worth apartment. The robbery went terribly wrong. During the confrontation, Ranger refused to hand over anything, and both he and Christopher were shot and died at the scene. Police said evidence suggested more than one weapon was fired. It's likely that Ranger raised his gun at the same time, taking one of the shooters with him before he was killed. Donut, who was wanted by Texas authorities for the murder, was arrested just a week later by the U.S. Marshal Task Force and local police while near a relative's home in Clovis. He was convicted in late May 2007 and sentenced to 35 years in prison, with a release date set for 2041. D.Rose originally grew up in Mottown after his family moved to 51st and Laughlin in 1999, which is considered ABM, part of FOLLYBOYZ. Later, he moved to the Creme building at 59th in Indiana, which is in 600 territory. He went to a private school on 61st in Michigan, right on the border of 600 and Front Street, where several other members also went. That connection played a big role in his link to 600. D.Rose has a lot of cousins from Mottown, including G-Muma from AMB and 50 Shot Mall from OTL, both top members of FOLLYBOYZ. He was also close with people like Diga, Khalil, Maintain, Kokilla, and 5 Star. D.Rose wasn't just affiliated with FOLLYBOYZ, he actively wrote for them and did real work, just like he did with other sets like Front Street, Timb, THF44/THF46, and Lamron. Since D.Rose's dad, Ranger, was a Black P. Stone, it made sense that D.Rose would claim that as well. But he wouldn't stick with it forever. Around the time he became heavily involved with 600 as a real gang member, he also started claiming Black disciples in 2009 to 2010. Many say it was the death of Lil Steve from 600, killed by Lil Scrap and Mooch from Mob in 2011, that pushed D.Rose to flip. Even after flipping to BD Nation, D.Rose kept good ties with Mottown and FOLLYBOYZ, and in fact, he's basically the reason Mottown and the Black Disciples have any kind of relationship. Given D.Rose's ties to 600, Front Street, Lamron, and THF, and the respect he commanded, it made sense for the Black Disciples to build a relationship with FOLLYBOYZ, especially since they shared the same enemies. One thing about D.Rose, he didn't claim all these sets just for show. He was known for actually sliding and putting in work for each of them, which was rare. He rode with Tim members on hits against Chris World and Drill City, he rolled with DHF 44 against Princeton Mob, and he was involved in the war between Mottown and 50 Strong. Mottown and 50 Strong have been at odds for a long time, but I want to focus now specifically on the FOLLYBOYZ versus 50 Strong beef, since it mostly existed on its own from the broader Mottown feud. The conflict with 50 Strong has calmed down a lot over time, but back in the day it was extremely violent. Between 2009 and 2014, 50 Strong was basically dominating FOLLYBOYZ. By around 2015, things had mostly quieted, even though the two crews still diss each other in songs. The feud is famous for being one-sided during its peak. From 2009 to 2014, it was mainly OTL and Sodom from FOLLYBOYZ going up against 50 Strong. The violent period started on April 25, 2009, when Kiar from 50 Strong killed Zach, also known as Crack, from Yem Street, now Sodom, FOLLYBOYZ. Kiar got 55 years for the murder, and 2X from 50 Strong was allegedly the driver. There had already been shootings before this first body dropped. For example, 50 shot Maul and 5-star fired at Kiar, 5-star targeted CSGO, and Co-Killa shot at Blood and Juice from 50 Strong. They were trying to bully 50 Strong at first, but that backfired. 6 months later, on September 27, 2009, 50 Strong struck again, killing Lil Derek from Yam Street. Derek was standing outside in FOLLYBOYZ territory around 8:40 p.m. when he was shot in the head in a drive-by. The shooter was allegedly King Dell from 50 Strong, a name worth remembering. Despite being a small set, 50 Strong had a lot of shooters, which made them really effective when sliding. FOLLYBOYZ, on the other hand, was a big alliance with many members, which made them easier to hit. In this case, 50 Strong's smaller size actually worked in their favor. In 2010, 50 Strong kept up their attacks on FOLLYBOYZ, just like in 2009. On April 15, 2010, King Dell, Dugo, and Boss Veze from 50 Strong were sitting in a car in KTC's territory, waiting for the right moment. Around 11 p.m., Beak from Yam Street walked by with his girlfriend and their baby in a stroller. As he got close, Dell and Dugo got out, aimed their guns, and even though Beak pushed the stroller forward and raised his hands in surrender, they shot him anyway. Beak was killed on the spot in front of his girlfriend and baby. He was only 18. At this point, the score was 3-0 in favor of 50 Strong, though some say it might be 4-0, as rumors claim that 50 Strong's chief, CEO, killed T-Mac on July 18, 2010. That hasn't been confirmed, and some say T-Mac was actually killed by fellow Moes over personal issues. For FOLLYBOYZ, the murder of Beak was the last straw. Later that year, they tried to get back at Dugo and King Dell. They managed to shoot both. Dell was hit in the leg, and Dugo took a bullet in the arm. The fact that King Dell and D.Rose survived, especially Dell, was a huge problem for FOLLYBOYZ. Both of them were now angry and constantly out lurking. FOLLYBOYZ were actually trying to make peace. One of the big homies from Mottown even came down to 50th to try to squash the beef, partly because FOLLYBOYZ had taken a beating, but also because 50 Strong's constant sliding was disrupting the peace in Mottown. That meeting didn't go well. The Mottown homie ended up getting smacked by D.Rose. 50 Strong clearly didn't want peace. But D.Rose would later regret that move. After a series of meetings within FOLLYBOYZ, they came together, united, and promised to do whatever it took to track down King Dell and D.Rose, and they eventually succeeded, though not without losing a few of their own members along the way. In late December 2011, 50 Strong faced a major loss. Scrap, G-Nuk, and Kokilla were sliding in a Range Rover with chrome rims when they spotted D.Rose and Dirty D drinking on a porch in the 800 block of West 50th Street, which is 50 Strong territory. Kokilla leaned out of the window and opened fire. D.Rose was hit in the head and died the next day at Strodger Hospital. Dirty D later identified Kokilla as the shooter, but there wasn't enough evidence to charge him. D.Rose's death hit 50 Strong hard, especially King Dell, since D.Rose was his best friend. For FOLLYBOYZ, this was a major disrespect and a morale boost. 5 Star, a prominent FOLLYBOYZ rapper, dissed D.Rose in songs, and D.Rose from 600 also mocked him. Kokilla even went to D.Rose's grave to mock him. In response, 50 Strong honored D.Rose by creating D.Rose Gang to remember him and vowed to avenge his death. Between June 8th and June 10th, 2012, some of the bloodiest days in Chicago gang history unfolded, leaving 4 bodies dead, 3 from FOLLYBOYZ. King Dell was furious after the murder of his best friend D.Rose, and on June 8th, he struck back, killing 2 FOLLYBOYZ members and wounding 3 others. Kamikaze from Yam Street, also known as Mozzie, had been at a Southside recording studio that Friday to work on music, as he did most weeks. That day was special, his sister was graduating, and he had promised to record a song in her honor. Tragically, he never made it out of the neighborhood. Shots rang out on the 5100 block of South May Street, where Mozzie and his cousin Seal were standing with a group, watching a video on Mozzie's phone. 2 masked gunmen approached and opened fire. Mozzie was hit in the shoulder and later died at Strodger Hospital. Seal, brother of T-Mac from FOLLYBOYZ who had been killed in 2010 at the same block, was also shot and died at the hospital. Among the wounded was 5 Star from FOLLYBOYZ, who was hit in the buttocks. This incident marked a major escalation in the ongoing conflict. The 2 gunmen behind the attack were allegedly King Dell and KG, the shooter from 50 Strong. The loss hit FOLLYBOYZ hard, especially since Mozzie was cousins with T-Mac, and both had been killed on the same block. Rio, T-Mac, and O'Malley were all part of the Dishman family, making the tragedy even more personal for the crew. With the deaths of Mozzie and Tio, the pain and anger in FOLLYBOYZ were intense. Scrap took it particularly hard. Consumed by rage, he was willing to risk everything to get revenge, with his sights set squarely on King Dell. The double murder of Mozzie and Tio became the driving force behind his determination to retaliate, no matter the cost. And when I say no matter the cost, I really mean it. On June 10, 2012, Just 2 days after the double homicide, Scrap carried out a bold retaliation against 50 Strong during a basketball game and block party right in the middle of their territory. Accompanied by another FOLLYBOYZ member, both masked and armed with an AK-47 and other heavy weapons, Scrap knew the odds were stacked against him. 50 Strong had a strong presence at the event, and the location, a key stronghold for their crew, made it even more dangerous. Aware of the risks, Scrap made a call to his best friend Vasco, a respected older FOLLYBOYZ member, as if preparing for what might be his final conversation. He also allegedly reached out to loved ones, getting ready for the possibility that he might not make it out alive. When they arrived, the party was packed with high-ranking 50 Strong members, including CEO, Geji Dashuta, many names, Boss Veze, and Squad, an OG and shot caller who was also FBG Duck's cousin. Despite the number of targets, Scrap knew exactly who he wanted first, King Dell. Without hesitation, Scrap and his accomplice opened fire on the crowd. King Dell was struck multiple times across his body, including fatal shots to the head. Scrap's assault was relentless, leaving Dell no chance to survive. Even as Dell tried to return fire, he succumbed to his injuries. The group returned heavy fire, hitting Scrap multiple times, with shooters like King Greg targeting him. As he tried to retreat to the car, Scrap was finally stopped when CEO landed a fatal headshot. His accomplice managed to escape in the car, but Scrap's body was left behind. In the aftermath, 50 Strong members unmasked Scrap's body and stomped on it, a brutal display that showed just how intense the conflict had become. Scrap's death was significant enough that Yam Street renamed themselves Sodink, Scrap or Die Money Gang, in his honor. Similarly, 50 Strong honored King Dell by renaming themselves Dell Gang. Both sides now hold annual celebrations for their fallen members. After the incident, FOLLYBOYZ considered attacking King Dell's funeral but ultimately decided against it. King Dell was known to have 6 bodies to his name, with at least 4 attributed to members of FOLLYBOYZ/Mottown, cementing his feared and notorious reputation. All of this chaos left us with one of the deadliest beefs in Chicago. It was pure hatred between the sets. In late November 2012, Kokilla and 5 Star from FOLLYBOYZ allegedly killed Big Meech from 50 Strong. Big Meech, also known as Fish, was a top member of 50 Strong and was allegedly targeted because he had bragged about stomping on Scrap's body. Many members from 50 Strong boasted about it, and Dell's blood brother, Prince Capone, even posed with Scrap's mask. In July 2013, tragedy struck FOLLYBOYZ again when Molly was killed by 50 Strong on Scrap Day, an already painful anniversary. He was with Jermaine, who survived the attack. The alleged shooters were CEO, King Greg, and Soulja from 50 Strong, reportedly assisted by Zo from No Love City. Later that year, in December, FOLLYBOYZ suffered another devastating loss when Banks was killed by 50 Strong. Around 11 p.m., near the border of OTL and Back Blocks territory, 50 Strong found him in his vehicle and took his life on the spot. These killings were part of 50 Strong's retaliation for the murder of Big Meech, and their response was ruthless, claiming 2 cherished FOLLYBOYZ members within months. By the end of 2013, in gang terms, the score stood at 8-3 in favor of 50 Strong. In reality, though, this conflict left a trail of young lives lost and families broken. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Stay safe, and may God bless you all. Let me know what you want to see next.